everybody. Hello. And welcome to The View. I'd like to wish a happy St. Patrick's Day today to all of our Irish friends out there.
And non-Irish.
And it is in honor of some of the first immigrants to come to this country, the Irish.
Yep.
They often, on this day, celebrate what they say the luck of the Irish. Of course, if you're elderly, sick, or poor, your luck has just run out. Did you think I would not talk about it? Just because, you know, what'd you say?
I said it took 10 seconds for you to go there.
Maybe less. I can't help it. It's so horrific and so horrendous. Just when you thought it was safe to stop talking about Trump, he unleashes his budget on us. He wants to cut clean water. He wants to stop helping old people and public education so we can all be as dumb as he is.
It didn't take long. You could have shown a little arc here.
No, she went right in.
I can't.
We're in
I'm possessed today. We're in an emergency in this country. People need to get with the program. A lot of Trump voters need to start reading the New York Times and see what he's doing to you. Okay? His budget guru, Mick Mulvaney, I guess he's Irish, right?
Maybe.
All right. Well, he thinks that all these cuts are an act of compassion. Watch. Okay, so basically he's saying, why would I ask the mother in Detroit, single mother, he uses Detroit, or the coal miner in West Virginia to pay for Meals on Wheels, for example, for old people in another state? But I ask, is it compassionate for Donald to ask that single moms foot the bill for his golf weekends at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
Or how compassionate is that? Or to keep the First Lady in the penthouse at Trump Tower, which is destroying traffic, to say the least.
And costing taxpayers a lot of money.
And costing. So I ask you ladies, what is the most horrific part of this, do you think? Or do you agree with it?
I think it's pretty horrific all the way throughout. I mean, if you look at it, and we have the numbers. So the Agriculture Department, he's cutting by 21%. Department of Housing and 13%, Education Department 14%, and the Labor Department 21%. But when you look behind those numbers, what you find is when you cut the Agricultural Department, you cut women, infants, and children nutritional assistance. When you cut the Department of Housing and Urban Development, what do you cut? You cut Meals on Wheels. When you cut the Education Department, you cut before and after school programs. And when you cut the Labor Department, you cut job training for seniors and disadvantaged youth. So I don't see the good in that, because our country is supposed to protect the most vulnerable. That would be the elderly, the poor, and the young.
Well,
so how can you cut
He puts America first. That's what his idea of America
first. He's putting
first
billionaires first.
The problem is, though, that everyone always wants to talk about cuts. No one ever wants to talk about the fact that we're broke. The country is broke. We have a $20 trillion national debt right now. Our budget deficit is $591 billion. Somebody pays for that. There's not this pot of, everybody thinks there's this pot of gold or something, pot of gold and a leprechaun that are just going to administer money.
The top 2% of our country.
What about raising taxes?
Yeah. So I understand what he's saying. What he's saying is, why raise taxes? You can't just raise taxes to kingdom come. As Margaret Thatcher once said, eventually you run out of everybody else's money.
How about raising them on the billionaires?
So we're talking about, you can't tax your way out of that, though.
They're putting their fair share in, and not
one at a time. The thing I'm noticing is the cuts in one of the notes is the State Department. He's cutting the State Department, which is all about diplomacy and outreach to avoid wars. And they quote, most recently, a 2013 quote from General Mattis, where he said, if you're going to cut funding from the state, I'm going to have to buy more bullets. So you're increasing military, but cutting state, which is not a great combination. And secondly, the after-school programs were something that really bothered me.
Before-school programs.
The around-school programs, we'll say. But they said there was no proof that this works. And at one point he said something like, there's no proof that when you feed a child that they do better in school. I don't need them to do better in school. I need them to be fed. Why would we ever leave our kids?
And they do better in school. When you look at the stats, they do.
Even if they don't, if you have houses and families and people, that there were 300 million families.
On an empty stomach, okay?
You get angry. I think going back to Jed's point, too, though, you know, we do have to look at the debt. It's $20 trillion. And in order for us to pay that down, that's your money. Each taxpayer has to pay $166,000. And I think, wait. As tough as you look at a lot of these programs that might get cut, Meals on Wheels,
after school programs,
I know that's the talking point, but wait a second. As tough as it is, a lot of people people have voted him in office to make these tough cuts. You look around the country, you have to operate a family on a budget. A corporation has to operate on a budget.
Who need these programs
on a budget.
But they're also the ones paying for the programs. Meals on Wheels, by the way.
Billionaires aren't paying their fair share.
No, IRS filings.
That's why.
They pay 50% of their income in taxes.
No, they don't.
Yes,
no, they don't. They use the AMT to evade taxes.
Wait a minute.
One second.
I'll be fiscally conservative. Why do I have to pay? Why do I have to pay? For example, it might be a small amount considering to get Hans and Fritz's vacation time. They go and kill elephants. Why do I have to pay
because
for
we
that?
unfortunately have to do that for every president. The same way President Obama went golfing, and it happens every time.
Why do I have to pay for his trips to Mar-a-Lago?
Because that's unfortunately the way it works when you're president. You get these perks, they all get it.
But you are
I don't think we should.
You're talking about
stay put into his job.
Fiscal responsibility.
Right. I'm also saying, no, Meals on Wheels, just 1 second, 3.3% of its funding comes from government sources. When you say they're cutting Meals on Wheels is largely funded by private people, by corporate grants, by individual contributions.
So then what's the problem?
People like my grandmother. Talk to the people like my grandmother that kept the Meals on Wheels kept her out of a nursing home.
Not going to gut
fed
that.
her every day.
Listen to the numbers.
No, Jed, no.
No, I support
it is not a talking point. It is not a talking point. When you look at Meals on Wheels that helps our seniors, helped people like my grandmother, bottom line is talk to the people that 3.3% is going to affect.
All I'm saying is I'm agreeing with you that the program is significant. What I'm saying is 3.3% of its funding comes from the government. So even if he cuts it, you're going to have private citizens, as they often do, come in, corporations, and they're going to say, we value
Let Sarah say something.
Okay,
let Sarah speak.
I actually agree with Jed on this because I saw a Mother Jones article today that changed my mind. I was with you, Sonny, on this, on the Meals on Wheels.
You're not with me anymore?
No, I am. But what they were talking about is what they're cutting is not the program. There are these block grants that go to the states that they're saying that their states aren't spending them efficiently. So Meals on Wheels is not being cut. It's a tertiary part of blocking this one grant.
It is being cut.
Wait
it
a
is
second.
being cut
Before
by
we go, what's your excuse for cutting the EPA? Don't you like to drink clean water? We have to go. We have to go. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics. Something. That last segment gave me such agita. So let's talk about somebody else's problems, okay? Okay, and somebody far away, Prince William, okay? Now, Prince William proves that he is no lord of the dance. In a leaked video of his ski trip where he dances like a white boy. With women who are not his wife, Kate. Apparently,
that's not cute.
Apparently, Kate and the Queen are not happy about this. We're not amused. What would you do if your husband went off on a weekend?
Oh, no. His bags would be, I don't get angry. I just pack the bags. I put them outside the door, and you don't do that. You want to go away with your boys? You can go away with your boys, but you spend time with your boys. I don't want to see girls lingering around, shorts. Yeah. Ladies know what's up. They see a girl in the background, they're like, oh, how far back is she? Was she part of the party and then stepped out of that photo? We're not stupid.
My husband went on a baby moon without me while I was pregnant.
Oh, I remember that.
How do you do that?
Well, he called it a bachelor party. He gets so mad, so I'm not watching today because
he said you told him to go.
Yeah, he says all the time. I did tell him to go in the beginning because I was trying to be cool wife. Yeah. But I was 35 weeks pregnant. Yeah. Hormones are surging through me. When he left, I was like,
cool wife.
What does this say about the type of father you guys are? I just was emotional wreck.
Did you think his dancing was that bad?
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I like anyone that gives it a chance. You can get that.
You got a little bit more.
Look. He's like,
you have the Puerto Rican spin. You got.
Oh, that is a disgrace to Caucasians.
What I didn't like about this trip was I thought the dancing was okay. What I didn't like was he also had his hand
around
someone's waist. He took a hat off of a person he was dancing with and did this like little hat dance.
Flirting.
And if my husband did that, Hostin would have a problem.
Yeah.
Be bad.
My husband and I both go on girl trips. He goes on guy trips. Every year I go with my college girlfriends, but we go to Baltimore to go look at, battle sites. He goes, that's what we do. Yeah, I mean, he does not have any reason to worry.
Fun?
It's fun. Are you kidding me? There's a lot of wine involved. But he goes on golf trips. But if I ever found out that he was at the club and he had his arm around another woman, that would be the last time he ever went with his guys. But the thing is, I know the guys that he's going with, and I completely trust that particular accord.
Let me ask you a more horrible question. Do you think that Prince William is going to be faithful to Kate? Because it's a tradition in the royal family. Remember when Charles said that he wished that he was a tampon in Camilla's area?
Did he say that? No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
I just lost my appetite.
What am I, the oldest person in America?
Ronnie, is it true?
Yes, it is true.
Oh, wow.
He said, I would like to be a tampon in your...
That's not even romantic.
Oh, that's not.
She loved it. She loved it. Was the Queen amused by that?
I think he needs to appreciate... Kate waited forever for him, and I just feel like, not to insult him, but she's such a catch, and she was home with the kids, and like, I don't know, I think there's got to be a certain respect.
Guys, sometimes, you ever see these guys, though, they have like a gorgeous, successful woman, and then they're cheating with someone that's like
to do with it.
Horrible.
He married up.
It has nothing to do with a man who cheats. I've seen it.
No, I don't think that's what causes it. I'm just saying that he should
He's going to
be
cheat.
grateful.
He's going to cheat.
I think
She's
He's not going to cheat. He's not cheating. Let's go to a happy place. He's not cheating.
We need that bell back.
He just, you know, he was just
Go
dancing.
to a happy place. That's where Charles went. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. The idea of becoming a born-again virgin is a hot topic again after celebs like Ciara, and Miranda Kerr, how do you say her name?
Kerr.
Said they would abstain from sex until they got married. So is this the sexual equivalent of a kale juice cleanse is what I want to know.
No.
I just don't get it exactly. I mean, if you've already done the deed,
If you've already tasted the fruit.
and then what's the goal?
But you haven't tasted the fruit with this new boo. I think that's the whole point.
The fruit all tastes the same.
I tell John, right? No, it doesn't.
Oh, no.
Wait, Sarah.
It does not.
Don't indict Max like
There's a
that,
difference
okay?
between an apple and a banana, let me tell you something.
Julie Behar, you are on a roll today.
What? It's your mind. Your mind.
Come on.
It's everybody else's dirty mind, not yours.
What's the goal?
John and I waited until we were married to fully consummate our relationship. But I always tell him if something happened to you, it would be, I mean, considering...
That was a faith-based decision.
That was a faith-based decision, but even though I am a woman of faith, it would be really difficult if anything happened to him, and he and I have had this conversation, if anything happened, to wait again, because once you've tasted that, it's hard. It's hard, because before I didn't know what I was missing out on, but now I do.
How do you justify that with Jesus? Because if you were dating again, the whole point is that you were not in a
Grace
marriage.
and forgiveness.
Oh.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just having a moment of honesty. It would be hard. Before, we didn't necessarily know we were missing out on. Now you do. It would be difficult, but I completely admire the people, Miranda Kerr and those that are trying to do it.
Because two people I know who did this, and both of them are divorced.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the fruit wasn't what they expected?
Look, I don't know. I don't know what.
Do you think they had an orange and they thought they were getting an apple?
Yeah.
I think this is an important part, and this is going to conflict with Paula's faith base. But I think the idea
Jesus
that
still loves you.
Thank you. Thank you. My parents have been married for 48 years, and hearing from a couple that says, you know, you need to stay interested in your partner, you need to keep that alive because things fade and change in time. To know that if you're not compatible on a physical level, and you know, I think sometimes it's okay to have tried that out.
But what's more important? But then you're elevating physical compatibility more than emotional.
It's important.
I think
it is important.
Marriage is,
But I don't think it's just physical.
but abstinence before marriage, you know, is a Catholic faith-based thing.
And, what are you saying?
Abstinence before marriage, but I also think abstinence before any relationship. Why would you share your most sacred
anyway?
But why would you share your most sacred fruit with someone that...
Not to change food groups, but you don't want to... They're not going to buy the cow if you're giving them milk out for free. So you definitely want to ease in. I agree.
I'm glad you didn't go to vegetables, because they're really filthy.
You went to kale in the intro. Yeah, go on.
Funny, like, it could also be a bonding experience. Like, I do believe in waiting a little bit of time, just because
How long?
2 days?
I mean, no, I wait. I wait a few months, actually. Every time I wait a few months, you have to know me. We have to be able to talk to each other. I want you to take me out. I want to know. I want to know that something genuine is happening and there are feelings involved. But for me, it's a bonding experience. It's not just about the physical, but it increases a layer of intimacy and trust and all sorts of things.
But it's the most sacred act. It's the most intimate. Why are you sharing that with someone in 2 months?
Because if I'm going to marry you, I want to know that on that level we can connect before I sign on. I want it the same way that I want to live with someone before I marry you. I want to know that we're compatible on every level, and that if I'm gonna, because when I get married, it's for the long haul. I tell my boyfriend now, don't do it unless you want to be there when I'm old and gray, because I'm not going anywhere.
I don't want to buy the car.
And since you are a few years older than him, you will be old and gray before he is.
I don't want to buy the car if I don't know it corners smoothly.
Oh, now we're doing an auto metaphor?
I am the queen of analogy.
Okay, take it away, Sarah.
Let's clean this up, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Last year, Talbots and O Magazine joined forces to inspire and empower 20,000 women to dress for success. And they're aiming to beat that number this year. They've created this 9-piece limited edition capsule collection with 30% of the net proceeds going to Dress for Success. I'm wearing the cardigan today.
So nice.
Thank you.
So cute.
So cute,
And the rest is Talbots. It's just not part of that capsule. Important to note. But thanks to Talbots and O Magazine, members of our audience are getting a $75 gift card and the April issue of O Magazine.
One of the hottest shows on TV, Empire, returns next week, and one of its hottest stars is making waves of his own for a searingly political musical video he just released that takes aim at everything from Trump to racial injustice. We can't say the name of the song, especially on this show today, because it's a little, you know, blue. But it's another phrase for screwed up world, okay? Take a look. Please welcome Jussie Smollett. You're popular.
Very.
He's a big deal.
No.
He is.
He's really nice, too.
No.
Thank you. I took a shower this morning. And everything. Can't go to the view. My mom was watching, so she's like, you better take a shower, boy.
So, Jussie, we just saw your new song and your music video that you wrote and directed, and you reference issues like Standing Rock, the Flint water crisis, to transgender bathroom debate. There's so many things wrong right now, it seems. How did you manage to fit them all in one video?
I just feel like, you know, we as a nation and essentially as a world, we tend to have this thing that we do where we only stand up for the things that we feel directly affect us. And I think that, you know, I may not be a woman, I may not be transgender, I may not be living in Flint, Michigan, or be protesting at Standing Rock, but I am a human being, and I am a part of this world, and it's my opportunity and my responsibility to represent everybody. You know, it was important to have a Muslim woman in it. It was important to have, you know, a little Jewish boy, to just show the fact that we just continuously this sick cycle that how history continues to repeat itself.
And in the video, you specifically referenced the President Trump. At one point, we see a wheelchair. You can see it right here, running over and breaking a Trump mask. So, what was the significance of that particular part of the video?
I know you didn't like that, Jedediah.
She's not a Trump. She's not a Trump.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good.
You're fine.
Good to know. Good to know. And I apologize.
I'm watching.
No, you know what it was? It was really this is not so much a hate letter to our current administration, but more so a love letter and a call to action to us that actually believe the same thing, that we're turning into, we can easily be turned into a fascist dictatorship with the way that we're going right now. And I just think for especially the sick joke that 45 did during his campaign to the journalists, it was empowering to my friend Tim, who genuinely is my friend, the man in the wheelchair.
You're referring to the
that.
time where
when he rolled over the map. Yes, when he made fun of the journalists, the
just to
disabled
clarify.
journalists. Yes.
But some people would say if you intimate violence against the president, regardless of who it is, that can overshadow your message. Do you feel like that might?
No, because I also think that what we have to do, first of all, this is for the oppressed. You know what I'm saying? This isn't for him.
Okay.
You know, so I'm really not concerned about that, because I know at the end of the day, if all of the images and all of the whole entirety of the video that I directed, I'm very proud of, if that is all that you get from it, then my friend, you're missing the point.
What? You know what? We're not taking it literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's art, too.
Just this week, Snoop Dogg sparked his own controversy with his music video that showed him pretending to shoot a Donald Trump clown lookalike with a bang bang gun. And Trump actually tweeted that if he had done that to Obama, Snoop Dogg, it would have meant jail time. Do you think that Snoop went too far? Do you think you went too far with the mask?
Well, you can clap whoever clapped up there, but what I will say is what's amazing to me is that he has so much time to tweet about these things, yet, hold on, and I appreciate the applause, but it's not for that. He has so much time to tweet about these things, yet the first thing I thought of was all of the images of the white folks that had pictures of Obama during the Obama administration hung from a noose. And not once did I hear 45, when he wasn't the president, step up on Twitter and say those people should be put in prison. So I'm sorry, my friend, you do not get to say that now. And on top of that, I just want to say I truly respect the office of the presidency of the United States. I don't respect the man that is in the office of the president of the United States. These are hard times, and these are tough times, and we've got to stand up and resist. And that is what we can do. You know what I'm saying?
President Obama was very good to him in the beginning and very nice to him, even though he called him a birther. And then he still turned on President Obama, saying that he wiretapped him. I mean, he's just despicable in the behavior towards the president.
Sure, and then you can, you know, I read something today where they said the U.S. will formally apologize to England, but when are you going to apologize to President Obama? How about that? That's not going to happen.
Well, Jussie,
so, you know, this is the thing. I've always led with love. I will always lead with love. You know what I'm saying? So I will only step up and stand up against someone that leads with hate. That's all.
Which your video talks a lot about love.
Yeah.
That's one of the universal themes of that. But getting to Empire, not to change, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
And it's finally coming back next week, and we can't wait. But at the end of the last episode, you were battling a drug addiction, and you brought a sneak peek for us. Can you set it up a little?
So Jamal's crazy self is in rehab, and the family comes to visit. It's family day. So have a look.
Cookie.
And Lucy.
Like Jamal said, his father ain't come.
Wow.
Yeah. I just saw the episode yesterday. I hosted this little event here, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Well, it's great to have you here, and you're very brave, because a lot of actors would not be doing what you're doing so that they don't interfere with their brand, but you're out there.
He's a lot of things.
Thank you.
And you're cute. Very cute. Thanks to Jussie, Smollett. The mid-season premiere of Empire airs next Wednesday night. Check your local listings, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Whether you've seen her on The Blaze or on your Facebook feed, Tomi Lahren is one of the hottest rising stars in conservative media and social media right now. So everyone, please welcome Tomi Lahren. Tomi, welcome. You flew in from Dallas just for the occasion. So, wow, you're 24 years old. You are just a rock star in the conservative community right now. But your social media following, you have 4.3 million followers on social media. Each of your videos are viewed an average of 5 million times. Why do you think you've resonated with so many people?
I think, in large part, I represent middle America. So you've got the two coasts, and those individuals seem to kind of just talk to each other. And then you've got all of middle America right there that's dying to have a voice. They don't really feel like they have one. They're not represented, you know, beyond their communities. So I think they watch me and they say, well, you know, she speaks like I do. She thinks like I do. She seems to maybe get it like I do. And I think that's why it's resonated. And also, I do something very different. There's not a whole lot of young conservative women out there. And so I provide that for a lot of young women. They don't have that.
Yeah, you told me in the commercial break that you always knew that this is what you wanted to do, but you're just 24. Do you feel like people discredit you because you're so young?
They do, but then I remind them that I'm sitting at the table with folks that are far older than me, and I'm here at 24, so I'm doing something right. You know, something that I'm doing is working.
Now, Tomi, far older, please, let's not date us.
Not you, ladies.
Okay.
Talk about Bill Maher.
Okay, good.
Sarah, you're only 25, so I mean, come on.
Like, I just started to feel old. Let's dial that back.
Personally. But let's talk about your voice, and let's talk about some hot topics, because that's what we do here. President Trump's travel ban 2.0, because this is the second one, was blocked earlier this week. 6 federal judges now have said that it's unconstitutional. But you support his plan. Are all those judges wrong?
I believe so. I don't believe it's unconstitutional. They're going with the Establishment Clause, but I think folks fail to also remember that the Establishment Clause in the Constitution doesn't cover non-citizens, A, and B, he is under his, and I think you could maybe attest to this as well, it is under his jurisdiction to be able to do this. He is able...
But didn't he shoot himself in the foot when he said a Muslim ban? Come on.
But this isn't a Muslim ban. This isn't a Muslim ban. Well, no, unless all the Muslims in the world have been able to pack themselves into 6 countries, this is not a Muslim ban. For a Muslim ban, India would be included. It's a high Muslim population. So, to me, this isn't a Muslim ban.
Does it bother you that he leaves out, like, Saudi Arabia, where he has a business?
No, I agree.
Egypt,
I definitely think Saudi Arabia should be included. I do. I agree with you there, Joy. That's maybe one of the points we can have agreement on. Saudi Arabia.
Can we celebrate right there? A little kumbaya.
To her point, though, I think part of the issue for me was that his rhetoric during the campaign, when you say stuff during a campaign like, you know, you want to ban all Muslims, or you use this broad terminology, then when you go to introduce policy, I happen to support this 2.0 as well, but when you institute policy that maybe doesn't do that, people look and say, well, what was the intent of this policy looking back? If you said X, Y, and Z over here, why are we not to believe that now this policy is intended to, in fact, ban Muslims, which you said? Is that not his biggest issue?
I think that it is. I mean, for Trump, rhetoric is usually the problem, and it's usually the basis of the problem. But I like to look to policy more than just talk. And when we're talking about campaign promises, wasn't it President Obama that said, if you like your health insurance, you can keep it? I mean, some things...
Well, one thing he said, and they keep bringing it up over and over again.
But what about
Trump says something crazy every day?
What about the fact that Giuliani, because I think it was a slip in the administration when Giuliani spoke out about that, but when he came to me and said it was a Muslim ban, how do you remedy that?
Here's the deal. We have to be honest. I'm someone that's made a career on being very honest. To say that we don't have a problem with jihadists torn in countries that are, you know, Islamic faith dominates those countries. To say that that's not a problem would be to completely miss the real threat at hand. We have to name the enemy. That doesn't mean all Muslims are the enemy. When we look at these 6 countries, we can see they have a serious problem with terrorism. They have a serious problem with extremism, and it's Islamic extremism. We need to be honest. If we can't be honest, we're going to continue to chase our tails, and Americans aren't going to be safe, and Muslims are not going to be safe.
Let's talk a little bit. If we can move on, we have some investigations that are potentially going on right now, and I'm someone who supported investigations into Hillary's emails, into Benghazi, into the IRS targeting conservative groups. I'm sure you were on board with those as well. But now you have an investigation of the Trump campaign and his potential ties to Russia. I also think that that's a valid investigation, given that we know that his campaign had contact with Russian officials last year. That was at the same time that Russia, we know now, was in fact trying to interrupt our democratic process. Do you support this investigation as well into Trump's potential ties to Russia?
I support an investigation, but I support investigation into wiretapping claims as well. I think if you're going to investigate one, you need to investigate the other. I think that that's only fair, and I also think it's important to point out that President Obama's President Obama's CIA,
about Trump.
But I'm talking about President Obama's CIA director.
Yeah.
He came out and said, I see no ties, I see no collusion here. So when President Obama, who's a Hillary supporter...
Republicans said that too.
Right. Well, when Obama's acting CIA director comes out and says, I see no evidence that there's ties.
But there's no evidence of wiretapping either.
But right, so we should investigate both to the fullest.
Well, for me, the difference is that for wiretapping, there really is no evidence for what he's saying right now, in my opinion. But when it comes to the other issue of the ties to Russia, there was a lot of communication. You have several people in his campaign. I'm concerned, for me, I don't care who the president of the United States is at the time. I'm concerned about protecting the democratic process. So for me, there is a big distinction between those investigations, because one is more founded than the other.
And that's where we can agree. I think both need to investigate.
But they cost money. They cost money. So if you're going to investigate it, I want to know that I want some reason for the investigation. Otherwise, I don't want taxpayers on the line.
All right, let me ask you this question, because we're running out of time. We are a show about women, so we talk about women's issues a lot, and mostly female, although we have some lovely men here today. So I would like to ask you, woman to woman.
All right.
Is it difficult for you to support Trump as a leader when he treats women so poorly, the things that he said about women? Remember that horrible tape, the Access Hollywood tape? I won't even repeat it, it's so gross. And not to mention the things he said about Megyn Kelly and about Alicia Machado, all that stuff against women.
You know, if we go back to the campaign, which is when most of this took place, I looked at the things that now President Trump said, and I look at the things that Hillary Clinton did, and I had to weigh them. But I did. But now we're talking about now.
What did she say that was so horrendous towards men? Towards men.
You know, she stayed married to Bill Clinton, so is she giving him a pass then? But beyond that,
would that be seen as a sign of strength to pursue through the vow of marriage?
Tomi, don't you believe in love?
Of course I do, but I want to get to your question, because this whole Trump is anti-woman thing, I just don't buy it, because if he was so anti-woman, why did he select a female to run his campaign? If Kellyanne Conway had been a Democrat, you all at this table would have been applauding her, singing her praises. So if he doesn't like women, he's anti-woman. I don't think he would have selected a woman to
That's like
run
saying
his
all
campaign.
my best friends are Jewish and being an anti-Semite. It has nothing to do with
He trusts women.
No, I think there's something to say. You're putting your money where your mouth is. Putting your money where your mouth
so
is.
his rhetoric doesn't bother you, but let me ask you this. You call yourself a conservative Republican and a constitutional conservative, but you also consider yourself pro-choice, which is interesting to me, because 68% of conservative Republicans think that abortion should be illegal across the board.
No, I'm pro-choice, and here's why. I am a constitutional, someone that loves the Constitution. I am someone that's for limited government, and so I can't sit here and be a hypocrite and say I'm for limited government, but I think that the government should decide what women do with their bodies. I can sit here and say that as a Republican, and I can say, you know what, I'm for limited government, so stay out of my guns, and you can stay out of my body as well. So I think it's...
You need to go out and speak to women about that.
I do every day.
Women.
I do every day. And, I get a lot of attacks from conservative women as well.
Yeah.
I think it's
unusual.
equal hate from all sides for me.
You don't have any problems with
Tomi, I told you that we wouldn't bite. Everybody, give it up for Tomi Lahren. We don't bite. We're going to be right back.